Hi guys, Shira here. Please excuse how gross and exhausted I look. So after our 7-hour flight to Toronto, we spent our 13-hour stopover in Amsterdam touring the city. And now we're at the airport and we have another 3 hours until our flight back home. So you can imagine how exhausting this really long day was. But we did have a lot of fun in Amsterdam, and I thought I'd share with you a bunch of cool and interesting and unique things about Amsterdam that we noticed while we were there. So after we got off the plane, we got dressed into normal clothes and went to the train station to take a train from the airport to the central station in the middle of Amsterdam. We're currently at the Amsterdam airport and we're waiting in line to buy tickets for the train to the central station of Amsterdam, where we will begin our journey today. Waiting for a train. Now we're on the train. Looks like we lucked out with just beautiful weather today. We got off the train at the central station in Amsterdam. We are by the port, as you can see behind me. The weather is gross, completely overcast, chilly. The first thing we noticed as soon as we got out of central station was bikes. Tons and tons and tons of bikes driving at you from every direction. Bike riding is the #1 mode of transportation in Amsterdam, and everywhere there are bike parking lots to park the bikes. We're just 5 minutes in Amsterdam and we already smell the pot. Canal found out while doing research online that coffee shop is a code name for a cafe that sells pot. Like a cafe is coffee and a coffee shop is pot. So we just passed by a bunch now and I'm like having a secondhand high. Now we're sitting in Koko Cafe, which is supposedly the #1 coffee in Amsterdam, so obviously Chananel needed to come here. This place is also a clothing store, so that's also pretty interesting. So how's the coffee?
Excellent.
Compared to the coffees I had in Toronto?
Better.
The center of the city is built around a network of canals, 165 to be exact. Behind me is a boat, and we're going to go on that boat to do a tour of Amsterdam called the Canal Cruise, and we're just going to tour through the canals through the entire city of Amsterdam to see all the major sites. A great way to see as much as Amsterdam as possible in a short period of time, about a little less than an hour. So we learned that the canals were man-made in the 17th century, and over the years, architects or engineers or whatever figured out a way to build a huge dam to close off the canals to the sea to prevent all the problems associated with high tides. So there's really little risk in Amsterdam of the canals overflowing and destroying all the homes. The buildings built around the canals are long, flat-fronted, quaint, townhouse-like buildings. When these buildings were built in the 17th century, there was a limit to how wide the buildings could be, but no limit to how deep or tall. So many of these seemingly small townhouses are actually secret mansions, all the property being behind what you, like in the back, what you don't see. See there where the white window is protruding? That is the smallest apartment, smallest building in Amsterdam. Only one window wide. Another thing that it's impossible not to notice in Amsterdam is that a lot of the buildings are leaning forward towards the water. So on the canal tour, we learned that firstly, the people who built the houses felt that when the building is leaning forward, it looks bigger from outside. And also they wanted when it would rain, all the rain would slide off the roof back into the canals to prevent flooding and mold in the houses. So I guess that's smart. And something else we learned on the canal tours is that now all the foundation and beams that the houses are built on are starting to mold and rot. So that's why the houses are kind of sinking forward. So that sounds a little bit dangerous to me, and like, how do you know how long these buildings are going to last until they totally get destroyed by like naturally getting old? During the canal tour, we saw lots of houseboats, which I thought was pretty cool that people actually live like that. And we're also told that there's a museum of houseboats and like a museum of cats on a houseboat. Like, I don't know, weird things like that, which we did not have time for on this short trip. So other than bikes, we noticed that there are an unusual amount of churches, bars, cafes, coffee shops, cheese stores, and blonde people. Now we're walking through Vondelpark, which is the most famous and most and I'm sure it would be a lot more pleasant if the weather weren't so gloomy. Of course, course, a trip to Amsterdam would not be complete without a visit to the Anne Frank house, which was our first stop once we got to Amsterdam. So this is the entrance to the Anne Frank house. And this is the line to get in. And there's Canal right at the end of the line. I think we're going to be here for a while. After waiting in line for almost 45 minutes, now we're going inside, and we're not allowed to film inside, so I'll let you know how it was when we come out. We were inside for like an hour. The way the building is set up around the original building of the warehouse attic where Anne Frank and her family hid during the war, they built a museum around it, so you kind of like do a walking tour reading all the pictures and descriptions of pictures and the history of the Holocaust and of Anne Frank's life throughout the entire tour of the museum. So it's kind of like it's like a one-way thing. Like you can't just do like a quick version of it because then you really won't see anything. You won't get the full effect. And just like slowly but surely you're going up to higher and higher floors until you reach the secret annex where Anne Frank and her family and a couple of other families hid for 2 years. It's hard to explain exactly how the place is built. So a lot of pictures and videos you'll see online, it looks like the attic and the secret hiding place is furnished. But actually, after everybody was discovered by the Germans and they were sent to concentration camps, the entire area was emptied, and it stayed empty. And when Anne Frank's father came back, he requested that it just stay empty. They furnished it for picture purposes, just to give people an idea of what it looked like, and then they removed all the furniture again. So as you're going through the entire building, there's no furniture at all, but in each room there's pictures of what the room looked like when it was furnished. Yeah, this is like, I think, the most important part of our trip today. Another fun fact about Amsterdam is that it has more museums than any other capital city in the world. And from all these museums, we decided to go to see the Van Gogh Museum, mainly because Van Gogh is my favorite artist. And another thing that I found out when we got there, that we were very lucky, and they have a special exhibit of Van Gogh and Munch paintings, like comparing the styles of the two artists. Special exhibit that was only for 4 months, and we actually managed to get there for this exhibit, which was fantastic. And on the way there, we stopped at the I Amsterdam sign to take pictures. So again, thanks so much for watching and sticking around for these travel vlogs. They're fun to do and fun to edit afterwards, and mainly it's for me to have a constant memory of the trips that I've been on, because I can just open a video online on YouTube and watch it and remember how fun the trip was. Much better than pictures, highly recommended. And it's always nice to bring you along, just knowing that other people are enjoying our trips. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.
Thanks again for watching! You can click here to watch my previous vlog, probably one of my best, so you might not want to miss out. Click on the squares below to either watch all my vlogs, check out my channel page, or subscribe to my channel to be the first to find out when I upload something new. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.